Hi everyone, I'm Gabby and this is Pete. So we joined the council with no idea what to expect. In fact, we nearly didn't apply for Code for Aotearoa. We thought the council would be kind of boring. But it turns out that it's a place full of passionate people doing amazing work. Our challenge was to find a way to add value to the council. Luckily, they do have some spaces for improvement, and over a month we logged 36. So to get to know the council staff and the organisation, Pete, do you want a slideshow? We had great conversations with over 40 staff in 4 weeks. And since there was a lot more people we would have loved to talk to, we also ran a cookie ideas generator in the staff rooms where people could share their thoughts on post-it notes while munching cookies. So after this first month, working from the CEO's office and chatting to many amazing staff across council, we had a great idea of what the organisation looked like to those on the inside and the internal challenges. The next step was finding out what it looked like on the outside. So we had to talk to citizens. By nature, I'm quite cynical and kind of shy, so bothering random people to ask for their thoughts on the council was my idea of a nightmare. I thought we'd be ignored and embarrassed, but we were still keen to give it a go. Listening to what the public had to say seemed super important to complete the well-rounded picture of the council that we were building up. So as we researched engagement inside the council, we realised that there was a large gap. The majority of citizens don't understand how the council works. Therefore, they miss out on engaging on topics that they care about. This means that the council can't provide the best services as they're not getting input from users. It is not easy for citizens to engage with council without a lot of effort. So we called Code for Australia at the Melbourne City Council, and hearing about their work gave us our idea for public engagement. We wanted to experiment with a new kind of space of feedback that went to the people rather than asking the people to find it. The space would be friendly and fun, and staff from the council across the council could be involved in it. We would ensure the results were heard from the top level of council, and we called it the Civic Lab. So the Civic Lab was a space for public engagement in the Central Library foyer. We attracted people by making the space interesting and playful with fake grass and fruit, and then asked them questions. So the questions we settled on were, what makes a successful city? And how can the council help? We asked people to write their responses on post-it notes on the wall. Halfway through, we introduced an upvoting system where people could tick the post-it notes they resonated with. We really focused on genuinely listening and understanding different perspectives when engaging with people. It worked so well that it became the focus for the rest of our time in council, and the response was overwhelming. I fundamentally changed my view on human nature. So over 208 people stopped and spent time thinking about the council, citizenship, democracy and civics. Families stopped and parents discussed voting with their children. People in social housing stopped and shared their experiences. Teenagers were surprised and delighted to be asked their opinion on voting and civic matters. I'm just amazed at how many people stopped and shared their thoughts, even when it meant looking up from their phones, taking off their sunglasses or taking out their headphones. Every single day, we averaged talking to a person every 3 minutes. Much like the Humans of New York project, when you open up a space for everyone, you're always going to find amazing inspirational stories and have the most beautiful moments.
So the Civic Lab project is valuable to the council for 2 reasons. So the first is the opportunity to understand its citizens better. And the second is to see the low resource barrier to quality engagement. So firstly, for understanding citizens. So this lab was a great place to engage with people the council normally has difficulty engaging with. We engaged with younger citizens. You can see the demographic spike between 18 and 24. And also a lot of other people who may not have engaged otherwise. So 40% of the participants didn't vote. We made the lab accessible to everyone by using really simple language and clear questions. We took time to explain the questions to people new to English. We entertained children with ukuleles and sock puppets while their caregivers participated. And the participants rated the lab highly at 4.1 out of 5 stars on a scale from awful to awesome. So what did the 208 participants tell us? Oh, so these are some of their messages. So those are messages from some of the top 3 most popular groups. So in these here are the groups that over half of the 696 responses fitted into. So you can see 70 responses for transport alternatives to cars, like ideas and thoughts around that. 46 people talked about wanting consultation before ideas have been proposed and like being listened to meaningfully. 45 wanted action on homelessness. And yeah, these are really beautiful messages. So, and these might seem like obvious things for a city, but consider what isn't ranking highly. Things like rates and rubbish collection, things that are maybe the common perception of citizen engagement with the council and the city. So this data shows by the numbers that when you ask people good high-level questions, you get intelligent high-level responses. So our sample, though small, highlighted some key areas that the public really care about. And these concerns should be a part of council decision-making around project choice and also the communication around these projects. For example, if proposing a film museum, talk about maybe how that could bring additional income and how that income could be used to tackle homelessness. So the Civic Lab is another powerful tool to better understand council users so that council can effectively direct their resources to providing the services that users really need rather than doing what they assume is needed. So the second important point about the lab for the council is that we've shown you can discover a lot of really valuable information on a shoestring budget if you are able to be creative, have agency, and take small risks. So we kept the risks low by starting with quick, cheap prototypes to test the ideas that we had met a real need. So what next for the Civic Lab? To complete the feedback cycle, we'll be doing 3 things. We'll be publishing a paper to council that'll be publicly available online about the Civic Lab project, where we'll detail the approach, the data, the outcomes, the elements that made the project successful, and the resources that have really helped us. The second thing is in the new year, we'll be meeting with the executive leadership team at the council to discuss the citizens' ideas that the lab collected and to talk about the next steps for the project. The third thing we'll be doing is publishing the results of the impact of the paper within the council and what the outcomes of the executive leadership team meeting are. We'll be putting those on our website so the public can see what's happened to their participation. So, yeah, our work was really just building on a lot of great work that's already been done at the council. And it was really great people at the council that made it possible for us to do this in only 3 months. So yeah, we'd like to really thank everyone who's supported us and Code for Aotearoa at Wellington City Council. Post-it note engagement can only go so far. It doesn't scale that well to, like, say, 100, 200,000 people. But for this, we've discovered there's some really powerful new web technologies, like Remesh, which we're about to use, that can massively scale engagement. With Remesh, you can have a conversation with 200,000 people. The thing, importantly, that we found, though, is that to get citizens using them and engaged in these tools, it's really important that the citizens trust that their voice will be heard. So the Civic Lab is in part a space to build the trust from citizens to the council so that the council can effectively use these kind of tools. We're not proficient at hosting this, but this is something that you could send out a link to this on Facebook at like 6 o'clock in the evening, and that could be picked up by 100,000 people around Wellington in their houses, families, each person with their own device, in old people's homes, nurses, old people, giving their input and having a meaningful conversation with whichever business unit wants to talk about something interesting. Yeah.